Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today for another card making tutorial, and this time I've been inspired by a sketch challenge. So I would normally submit a design team project for the Inspire.Create.Challenges blog. Now the new challenge launched yesterday, but I didn't put an entry in this time, but I have made something based on that, so I'll leave a link in the description to that so that you can have a look at what the design team did do as the inspiration, and of course if you wish to participate in that you may just upload your photos, and if you have a blog you can link it to your blog as well. So do check that out. So the card I've made has used the Mountain Air stamp set and coordinating dies, and then the little sentiment, there's no sentiments in here, I've taken from the Sending Hugs stamp set and I've cut it with the coordinating little die that's in there too. So those are the stamp sets dies that we've used, and then I've also got the layering circles in the background here. So there's a bit of die cutting to do. I'm swapping out the card base. We're going to go with Blackberry Bliss and Rich Raspberry for the scalloped part. So I've already cut those ahead of time so that we've got them to go. I've got a few scraps of white here to use, and I've also got this larger scrap here that we can do a bit of stamping and die cutting on. So eventually we're going to end up cutting a circle out to mount all of that. I might use a separate piece of cardstock for that actually. Let's just grab another piece that's going to do that for us. Is that big enough? Just about. Might get that, we'll get that cut. No, we'll save that. So I'm just thinking about how I'm going to compose my card and stuff. So even though I've made my sample, there's quite a lot of little bits and pieces to it. I'm going to bring in Smoky Slate first to stamp my mountain range. So we're just going to get that stamped. I'm not going to change the colours of the it's going to go off the edges a little bit, so I'll just bring in some scrap paper just to protect my surface more than anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of build up a bit of the scene on here that we can then die cut out with the coordinating dies. So we're going to put our mountain range in so that the stamp gives us this really great dimension to those mountains, makes them look like they're either sort of catching the sun and they've got the snow on there, which is really nice. And then my tree line, I'm going to use Evening Evergreen for. And on the original sample what I did was I cut this separately so I could layer it up. A couple of disadvantages to that, in that the die for this only cuts the top portion, so you still have to negotiate what you're going to do with the bottom edge. So if I do it with this over the top and cut the mountain range out, I'm hoping that we're going to get if I grab the die actually, that will sort out that for us, you see. So if I lay that over the top, it's going to cut the tree line into the same way. However, looking at that, I'm thinking that maybe I do need it cut separately as well, but that's fine. We'll leave it as it is, we'll cut it as it is, but we'll stamp a separate one as well. So I wasn't sure whether that was going to work or not, so now I know. I'm going to stamp another tree line. in the same colour, which is fine because when we layer it over the top, it's going to add some extra dimension to that. So Evening Evergreen we're using for this. It's a really deep, dark colour, and I want those to sort of step back into the background, and we'll achieve that by using that dark colour. Just putting that down so that I can get those cleaned off later. Just got a little patch there, and then we need some trees to embellish. So here, so we've used exactly the same colour, Smoky Slate, Evening Evergreen, and these ones are Shaded Spruce and Garden Green. In fact, what I might do is switch those around actually. Let's do the Shaded Spruce for the little ones, the individual trees. Just trying to make as much use of this piece of cardstock as possible. Be frugal with it. So a couple of Shaded Spruce trees there, and Garden Green is going to be the other one. So I did try out some other colours, and they just didn't seem to work out quite so well, so that's how I ended up with this particular colour combination for those. So we'll put that there. Whoops, rocked the block there, but got away with it, that's fine. Don't want to rock your block. Sorry, that entertained me slightly. That was quite funny. Okay, so that's ready to die cut, and while we're here, I think this skinny bit will do for the sentiment. So we'll just bring back the Evening Evergreen, nice dark colour without using black, and we'll pop that onto there. So we can die cut that as well. Okie dokie. Right, so I've got some got my dies here. Some of them have already got some tape on, so we can just get them positioned in, and we'll do as many as we can on one pass as possible, just to save some time. This is only a top line on this one, so just lining that up with those trees. Somewhere there. Hopefully we can get one of those small trees done at the same time, because we're going to need 2 passes anyway, so we'll do this tree and we'll do the other trees on the second pass along with our sentiments. Let me grab the die for the sentiment as well, which I haven't picked up. There it is. So that just goes over the top of that. We need another piece of low tack tape. Hope everyone's doing okay. There seems to be quite a lot of coughs, colds and bugs going around at the moment, so I hope everyone's doing okay out there, and yeah, staying safe. There we go. Right, let's get these ones done. So I'm going to use my my Stampin' Cut and Embosses just off to the side here. So we've got a base platform, we've got our number 2, which are thin dies, and then we've got our number 3 plate. Look how well used that is, but you just keep using it and turning it and flipping it, and eventually you'll replace that, and we'll put another clear plate on top, and we'll send that through the machine. So long as your dies don't overlap each other, you can put as many dies on your piece of paper as or on your cutting mat as will fit. say, you just don't want them to overlap. That's the only thing that's going to damage your dies if you die cut your dies. Okay, because the sheer amount of pressure that is applied is enough to actually damage those as well. So we're going to remove that. So that's going to get covered up eventually, so if that peels it doesn't matter. So we've got a mountain line, we've got a tree line. Let's just pop those to one side temporarily. One of our trees there. So we'll move that over to this one. Get this one die cut. And we'll get the die for the larger tree there. A piece of tape. This is just scrap washi tape. You can use like that Scotch Magic tape. Anything that basically isn't too tacky. Frog tape from, you know, like decorators tape. That's quite good. And you get a massive packet of that. That'll last you like forever. I've got some of that actually. So once I run out of that, so you get 2 rolls in a pack. So that's going to like last forever and ever. And it comes in a nice convenient tub, which will keep it protected as well. So those are a couple of things that I use for securing dies. I'm hoping that Stampin' Up release a magnetic platform for the cut and emboss as well, so still might be a possibility. Another tree and another tree. So there we go, that's our die cutting done. I'm just going to put the dies all together, otherwise I'm going to end up putting something in the bin that I shouldn't. Get rid of that. Oh, almost all our die cutting done, I do beg your pardon, because we need to sort out this circle. So the sketch that I have used is basically a circle with a banner across it. So what we are going to do now is just use a little teeny spot of Stampin' Seal on the back of that. I've taken off some tack by pressing my finger on it. We'll position that over the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to die cut that circle over the top there. So see what I mean about having this raw edge at the bottom? So on the original sample I've managed to disguise it by doing all the layering and everything. So just something to bear in mind when you're doing something like this. So we'll retrieve one of those pieces of tape, shall we? Or a couple maybe. And keep reusing your tape until it runs out of stick, basically. So we'll secure that in a couple of places and we'll get that die cut so that we've got our circle and our things that we're going to go over the top. So we're sort of doing two things at once, cutting our images to the right size and cutting our circle for the so we don't need any of those, that's no rubbish. And we're going to keep these bits. So if your tape sticks, just peel it away slowly. And if you peel it back on itself, it's less likely to pull. Rather than pull up, pull away, it's less likely to peel your paper. If you can get it off in the first place, there we go. That's just the sheer pressure of the machine, just makes it stick quite firmly onto there. So again, I'm just going to rescue this die before it ends up accidentally going somewhere it shouldn't. And that is now all the die cutting done. So basically what we've got there is a sort of template for what we want to do. I'm going to bring back my scrap paper, and we're just going to do a bit of ink blending over the top of this to put in a bit of sky and a bit of like sort of greenery at the bottom, just to sort of take the white off. So I'm just going to grab 2 brushes. I'm going to go for the pink to tie in with the Rich Raspberry and the Blackberry Bliss, and then a green brush, and I haven't got out any additional ink. I'm just going to peel that away because it's low tack, because I took the sticky off. That should come off. Okay, and I'm not even going to add any additional ink. All I'm going to do is just go over the top of that. Don't worry if it catches over that residual glue, we're covering it up anyway. Okay, no need to stress, it's going to be fine. Okay, I just want to take the edge off the white, basically, so it sort of blends in a bit. It doesn't need to be a lot, so literally just the residual ink that's on the edge of that blending brush. If you don't want to do this step, just skip it entirely. Okay, so that's how I achieved that bit. We can now replace our elements, but we'll put a bit more glue onto the back of that. So they need to go. So you're going to use this circle to help you line that up, and then this one we're going to pop up onto some dimensionals. Now I'm going to use quite a lot of mini dimensionals for this card because the elements are quite small. So we'll take some of those, put some on these more prominent little trees off to the side there maybe as well. So that's nice and secure. And lay that over the top there too. And of course we've already got those little trees in place, so we've got a rough idea of where it's going to go anyway. Okay. Little bit of a smudge there. We could stamp our birds over the top of that, to be fair, but there's always ways to cover up stuff if things go a little bit awry. Before I go too much further, I'm going to stick this to its background. The layer in circles. And I think we can probably get that put onto its card base as well. So again, a bit more stamp and seal on that. So this is the colour is going to give it a completely different look. Very much feel like the original sample with the blues is very much daytime, whereas this I feel is more of a night scene. So now we want to make sure that this little hole here is covered up. So I'm thinking a tree needs to go there. But again, I want to raise this up a little bit, so we'll bring in another couple of mini dimensionals onto there. Put them towards the middle. And put that into place because we know we want it there. And of course, building up that scene. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at where we want the other bits and pieces. So I think we want the other one to go somewhere around there. So again, we'll put on another couple of stamping dimensionals. What I might do is just stick them onto this background and then layer the tree on top. The top is going to need a bit of support though, so I'm going to put a small one on the top and double it up because it's got to attach to the the base layer. It's got two levels to cover there, and different heights just to give it a bit more interest. Okay, and then this guy's going to go over the top of those in the foreground. So that's where we're headed with that. So what I'm going to need is a dimensional sort of up here, and we'll just put some tape across the bottom just to secure that. As close as I can to the top without it showing. Okay, so the different greens give it that element there. And then we've just got our sentiment to put in, which I think would look quite nice over the top actually, this time round. But that leaves us with all this stuff to deal with. So what we're going to need is an extra dimensional on the end here. But we only want a little teeny skinny bit, so I'm going to take some of the sort of scrap edge pieces that I've got here of my dimensionals. So I want that on the far end. So always keep your little scraps of dimensional, because you might need them for these little teeny tiny things. Little bit of seal on the other end, and that should balance that up. Preferably stick it down straight. I was thinking I could have potentially put that on, stamped that with maybe the Blackberry Bliss or the Rich Razzleberry, just to sort of tie it in a little bit more to the rest of the card. But there you go. More options for you to try if you are going to replicate this card. And I've just decided to pick up those dimensional backs, and they're all staticky. So there you go. A couple of ideas there using that sketch to create a scene, kind of a masculine sort of feel to them, I feel. Hope you've enjoyed it. Links in the description as always. Do take a look. And if you fancy taking part in the Inspire.Create Challenge, the team would really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me today. Take care. Bye.